Hi there. This is the second time I've tried this. Shooting this. I was shooting it the first time around in my apartment, but one of my neighbors is playing video games really loudly, and the other one is having some kind of work done in his apartment, so it's really, really noisy. So I am in the parking lot. I have my car running because it's kind of cold out. I hope you can still hear over that. And just random, I guess, ramblings about some things I've been experiencing and thinking about. As a late diagnosed autistic adult, I was diagnosed at 48, so that's rather late in life. But I was just noticing days that I have to work and deal with a lot of human interaction and a lot of noise and other sensory inputs, and days that I have like a lot of errands to run, like grocery store stuff. The next day I usually feel it's not really a hangover. I don't know, I don't have words for it that somebody who isn't neurodivergent would understand, but I know a lot of other autistic people get this too, where it's like you don't have the emotional bandwidth and you don't have the mental, I guess, capacity to do much of anything after you've had a day full of having to interact verbally and otherwise with a lot of people at work, coworkers and other people, and then having to run errands or go to an appointment or pick up medicine or drop off bills. Usually after that, the next day, I need to try to stay someplace quiet. I need to wear clothing that doesn't cause sensory issues. I usually need time away from people after that, and I feel like I also need more time to sleep, but I need more time to switch gears and fall asleep for the night after a day like that. So that probably contributes to the fatigue. I have notes next to me on the seat too, because I have been having a lot of brain fog lately. I can remember very recently I went to run some errands and pick up some things at the pharmacy and the grocery store, and I had to get one of the cashiers at the grocery store, because I was using self-checkout, to help ring something up that you need a key for. I remember being frustrated over that, even though she was being really helpful and really polite. And so I got done paying and promptly left my bag at the checkout and didn't notice it till I got all the way to my car and got in the car. So I had to go back inside. And of course, the cashier laughed about it, because it was kind of funny, but it was also really a lot of aggravation. Then I feel like that probably happens a lot more to autistic individuals than it does to neurotypical people. I also tend to lose language skills, and I tend to lose basic math skills when I have been peopling too much and when there's too much sensory input, which is endlessly frustrating, because then I'm frustrated over not being able to find the words I want, and I'm frustrated over just being fatigued and tired. It really physically takes a lot of energy interacting with people sometimes. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Constantly feeling like I'm not accomplishing as many things as quote unquote normal people do. And I felt that way since I was a little kid, and I'm now almost 50. But I also constantly feel like I'm busy. So it's like it takes a lot of energy and a lot of, I guess, mental capacity to do very simple, like, household chores. But like today, I've given myself a list of things to do that I wanted to do, as far as cleaning some things in my house, and I've gotten like half of it done, and it's almost 6 o'clock. and I probably won't get anything else done. And so that's endlessly frustrating, but I also feel very tired, and I feel like it feels like I've done a lot, but I haven't. It's just I guess the mental energy. And I know it's okay to cut yourself some slack sometimes, but I also feel like you feel worthless sometimes after that. Not really sure what to do with that. I kind of feel like most days there's one or two things I can do, and that's it. Like if I have to go to work, that's all I'm doing is work stuff. If I have to like vacuum and do a load of laundry and do some dishes, that's it. If I have to go to the grocery store and the pharmacy or call a doctor or go to the bank or whatever, deal with any type of adulting, I hate that word, then that's basically all I'm doing that day. I kind of feel like I have only the mental and emotional bandwidth for one type of job every day. And I've noticed just from personal observation that that's not really normal. And I haven't really found a solution for it. I wish there were meds for it, but there isn't. Let's see. I find myself sometimes avoiding family gatherings to avoid the sensory input, but then feeling really bad and really lonely later because I am not antisocial. I do need people. I probably don't spend time with my family as much as I should. I have basically been in my apartment for the past 3 days by myself. That's another thing that's often a challenge for autistic people. I know there are a lot of autistic people who are very financially independent and financially savvy, but a lot of us have employment issues, so we have to stick to a really strict budget. So sometimes you're stuck living with roommates. I can imagine that would be really challenging, trying to get enough, I guess, peace and quiet. I'm lucky enough to have my own apartment, but it's a very low income apartment complex, and my neighbors are very close. Excuse me for rubbing my nose, it's itchy. And so there's usually a lot of noise. Well, not a lot. I've heard of worse situations, but it's not a lot of privacy either with your neighbors that close to you. If I had the money, I'd buy myself a little cottage out in the middle of nowhere somewhere, but I don't. Yeah, I didn't really tie this together really well, but I'm constantly having thoughts about my diagnosis, so I figured I would record them and share them and see what happens. I'm open to your input on that, especially from either friends or relatives of other neurodivergent people or neurodivergent people themselves. You know, how do you cope with being able to be as productive as possible? How do you cope with the brain fog? How do you cope with the lack of energy? Do you guys experience, I guess, lack of skills when there's too much sensory input, like lights and noises and stuff like that? Yeah, how do you cope with that? That's about it. Anyways, if you can, I guess, drop me a comment, all that good stuff. I hope everyone's well. Thanks. Bye.